This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Well, you think about this for a moment. Do you ever just ponder why you do what you do? What are the reasons? Why do you make certain choices, good or bad? There are reasons. We're going to help you today discover those reasons, or at least get you on the path to figuring that all out. I call it connecting the dots with things from your past. I wonder if we're going there. We'll find out. She is somebody that helps make those discoveries as an amazing coach. She's a healer, an astrologer, and so much more. Jordan Auten joins us on the program today. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Steve. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much.
Same. Excited to talk with you because I believe a lot of the direction that we're going to go in is the direction I've been on in a journey of the last couple of years, number of years. But a lot of this comes back to our intuition now, doesn't it?
It does.
Why is that?
Wow. Okay. So, what a beautiful question. Definitely fully loaded. Like, where do we even start? But I think that's the significance of the question is what is our intuition and how many of us are actually connected to what I also refer to it as your inner voice, this very soft whisper that is operating and speaking to you from your intuition, but how, like I said, how many of us are really connected to that? So the first step in really exploring this topic, from my perspective, is to go inward. And that is challenging for many people, but that's where it starts. And from a practical point of view, how does one do that? Well, I think it is about connecting to where do you find inner peace and what does that look like? So for me, I started meditating many years ago, and that allowed me to go inward. I am very naturally connected to nature and the ocean as elements and tools to help me go within. So, sure, it starts with meditating, but also I surf and I can hear my intuition through the ocean. So, if I'm sitting next to the ocean, I can go inward. So, these are practical ways to just like dip your toe into the process. And then as you navigate through this process, it really is about detaching from the mind and really going within and listening to your heart. Now, when I say detaching from the mind, I don't mean disassociation by any means. What I'm talking about is allowing us to see the mind as a resource and a tool, but to know that the actual like inner truth and guidance is coming from our intuition, and the mind is there as a resource to help create the structures that are in alignment with what feels natural to you and with what's in your heart.
Beautifully said, and I can relate on many levels. I love kayaking. Water's my thing too. And when I'm out there and just floating, there's nothing better. It's all there. I'm so overdue, by the way. I got to get out. And when you say disconnecting from the mind, would you say that you suggest to do that because, and I mean this in a positive way, our minds are kind of messed up. We got stuff from our subconscious that we're piloting on right now, and you know, it cares about us. It wants to protect us, but at the same time, it's getting in the way. You're getting in the way. So, you know, you can't just listen to your mind all the time. You have to listen to this beautiful thing that we were given, this gift, this superpower called intuition. And how do I know it's real? Because I can go back 30 years and all different scenarios and situations of ignoring my intuition. And I knew I was ignoring it at the time. I was like, man, it'll be all right, man. And it didn't turn out that way because I didn't honor my intuition. How do you how do you feel it when you're getting something from your intuition? What are you feeling?
So, yeah, another excellent question. It's a For me personally, it's it's like a driving force that feels like a whisper that's coming from within, like the center of my being, the center of my body. Um, your intuition will always talk to you very softly, uh, in a very loving, suggestive way, in my experience. And so we all have different natural gifts and talents that are connected to our spiritual selves, again, whether we are aware of it or not. And so you might actually hear it in different ways. So it could actually sound like your intuition is speaking to you, or it could just be a feeling. It could be an actual feeling that somehow you're able to articulate and understand in that moment. But you have to be present with yourself and even having an intention to receive the information. Um, and so, back to your question in relation to detaching from the mind, our mind is full of the conditioning that we learn within our family systems, within society at large, within our school environment. Think about even through different generations, they're teaching you about logic. They're not actually teaching you how to go within and connect to your intuition, but imagine if they were. So
Mm.
much of our mind is based on conditioning. And then when we get to a certain age, from an evolutionary astrology point of view, there are landmarks, timestamps, like they when we go through our Saturn return, it's around age 28 to 32. Significant changes happen, and you can correlate it just by observing your life. It
100%. And don't forget the second Saturn return.
Second Saturn return, but before that happens is the Uranus opposition, which is referred to as the midlife crisis. But if you were to study the work of Carl Jung, one of, a very significant psychotherapist in our history, that is the point in which you actually wake up to who you naturally are and you're connecting to yourself on a soul level. So, I know I'm answering your question, but there are so many ways to look at it. But I think the key word is conditioning. The mind, it we are overconsumed by logic and by the mind to where it will shut down the intuition. But we're also not educated on how to operate from our intuition. So it's an internal job. We all wake up to this at different times, when it is time, when we are ready, and moving forward in this present moment, the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and beyond, it is very important to be connected to this intuition that we all have within ourselves when making choices, when following our own inner guidance. Um, yeah, it's
Mm.
important.
You said something that was almost alarming to me, that the brain, the logic, squashes or shuts down the intuition. And my first thought was, no, 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 it can't have that can't happen, because it's so important to listen to what's happening within. And many of us call it a gut feeling, because sometimes you feel it. And that for me, I feel it. I do feel it in my gut a lot of times, but it's usually the lighter feeling, the one that just seems so obvious, the information, the choice, whatever it is, so obvious that there comes the logic. It can't be that easy, man. No, 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 no. This guy gotta work a little harder at this. No, that's it. That's what you should be listening to. How how do you feel that the intuition helps with self discovery? Like, what's going on there?
Mhm. Well, I feel very strongly that if we connect to this inner voice, it's always looking out for you in your best and highest good. And so when it comes to our own self-discovery, if we, we live in a society, and I'm definitely, I see so much of my own transformation in this. We live in a, a society where it's all about go, go, go. It's like very masculine, right? Go out and create. What are you doing? But really, listening to your intuition requires you to stop and to get quiet and to learn how to receive, which means you're learning how to trust. And in from the perspective of our own self-discovery, your intuition is guiding you. So it opens up these new pathways for resources and different modalities that are beneficial for each individual based on what it is you need. So, for example, I am a developing therapist now. I am a therapist trainee getting my license in marriage and family therapy. And that structure is helping me offer support for people from a practical point of view. Because when you start to connect to your intuition and go through that self-discovery process, you need space, you need support, and oftentimes it leads you to your own connection to your own spirituality. And that can take you in multiple directions that feel like you're not grounded, but you're actually, yeah, you're connecting to your own inner source that's connected to the universe. And so I feel that taking, yeah, like astrology, I'm a Reiki practitioner. So it's all about connecting to your body in a somatic way. Like we have memories in our cellular body, like the cellular level of our bodies that we don't logically understand. And so my intention is to take the spiritual part of the self-discovery process and offer it in a way through the therapeutic lens that can help people combine their own spiritual practice with their own practical approach in their everyday lives.
You have a beautiful blend going on there because it's going from the spiritual side to the therapeutic side, if you will, as a Reiki practitioner, somebody who's plugged into astrology, again, the spiritual side, and now you're working, to move yourself along to help people on the therapy side of things. We said astrology, so let's go there. We're in a Mercury retrograde. I believe a Saturn retrograde is going on at this
Yes.
time. Uranus is doing something too.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yeah.
is this a more profound astrological time than usual?
Yes. I just got chills as you're asking me this. So this is usually like I have different friend groups, and oftentimes I will start speaking about this. I do have platforms that I do talk about these things, but oftentimes, yeah, the average person doesn't understand. So, which is fine. So that's where I get to like ground down and like speak from a language where everybody can understand, right? And so, yeah, Saturn is currently in Aries retrograde, conjunct Neptune retrograde. And they are going to retrograde back into Pisces. And then in February of 2026, they will go direct together and they will move into Aries together at the very same exact time. That has never happened in this lifetime. They have never been in the sign of Aries together in this lifetime. In layman's terms, Saturn is your physical structure, your physical reality. Neptune is the higher realms. It is your spirituality. It's your spiritual self. It is your ideals. It's also your dreams, but it can also be where we experience disillusionment. And so, if we were to just talk about these two planets, what they're doing right now is they are helping us restructure our consciousness by integrating a spiritual connection. So we are integrating our own spirituality into the next structure of our lives as a way to move forward, connecting to our heart versus the over consuming of the logical mind. And this is helping us create a new identity. But in the process, we are having to culminate and to let go of the old conditioning, the old structures, old relationships that are all based upon an old version of ourselves that is not in alignment with who we naturally are moving forward. So we're waking up to our natural gifts, to our spiritual gifts, and the new starts. Whatever's not meant to go with you in February of 2026, it's falling away. And
Whether you like it or not.
whether you like it or not, and so many of us are experiencing disillusionment, which is like, I believed so much into this, whatever this is. And so it's a form of grieving.
Is
Okay.
that what's going on at this time?
That is going on right now.
Yeah.
Um, it's like a trial and error period, like a trial period of like, oh, you're being sprinkled with the new starts, the new structures, and like the new things that are happening, but they're not going to be fully in place until February of 2026.
This is almost like a prelude. Like, get ready, folks. We got
Exactly.
stuff coming your way. I'm feeling it. Like it just seemed. Not being negative here. Just the feeling seems heavier. Things are coming clearer, and I'm finding in my world that even in one situation of business, I got a bunch of different things going on, but a side thing, it just didn't seem right. Partnered with somebody, and it, as much as I wanted to say, well, all right, let's just, let me try it this way or try it that way. My intuition said, nope, not happening. But brick wall, not happening. That's not the way it goes. I've never felt that before. It is just, and it was almost uncomfortable to make some change. Sat with it for like a week and a half, but I believe just what you're saying. It's things are revealing, and you need to listen to them as opposed to try and ride the train a little bit longer because the train's going to crash or you're jumping off.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting off at the next stop, whether
Mm-hmm.
you want to or not. Scale of 1 to 10, right now, not February of 26, right now, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being this is a really profound astrological time. What we got going on right now with these transits here, where would you put that? 10 being, woof, yeah.
Oh, I would say it's a 10. There's no
Mm,
doubt. There's no doubt. The
wow.
Yeah, and I'll try and keep this brief, but yeah, the Mercury retrograde in Leo is coming up to its opposition to Pluto. And Pluto in Aquarius is the rise of the power of the people. Like we're returning to grassroots structures where the community together will rebuild the new structure versus like a top down one person is, I don't know how
Like,
better to
like,
say it.
like dictatorship type thing.
Sure, like in the form of, yeah, if we were going describing it in an extreme way.
Sure.
So Pluto opposing this Mercury is, it's an ego death. We are collectively experiencing an ego death, which is forcing you in a very gentle way, but also, like you said, like our intuition is getting louder. And the universe will literally show you what is no longer working. And so the ego death is allowing us to really go within and to listen to our intuition, to our heart. Mercury in Leo, that's listening to one's heart. And then that Pluto is ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is in Gemini, and it's trining that Pluto. So that's with just those three planetary aspects. We're dealing with generational planets. We're dealing with the outer planets, Uranus and Pluto being generational. Um, that Uranus in Gemini is, Uranus is your long term subconscious memory. It's the higher intelligence of the universe. It's the universal brain, essentially. Gemini is our human brain. That trine to Pluto is digging deep and revealing secrets. And that Pluto is opposing Mercury. So it's like, it's not only an ego death, it's the death of the old structures that have kept us in conditioning and patterns of disempowerment. Pluto wants empowerment for the people, and it starts with confronting your own limitations and truth, and it will show up through limitations. And that will force someone, like I said, in a gentle and loving way, to return to their nature, to decondition, to start listening to the intuition, because that is really, that's your inner guidance system that we were all gifted. And we are returning to that. We are returning to that as the dominant force of how we operate.
It feels like more and more of us are now open to this thing called spirituality, or we're just looking for a change. Like this other stuff's not working, or I'm not going to go to the doctor and get another pill for symptoms that's we just know we're feeling that that's not the answer. There's something else out there, and people are thirsty for it right now. Do you feel it that's my assessment? Do you think that's the collective right now?
Yes, I do. And from my perspective, it is Pluto in Aquarius. If we break, these signs, these planets down through an archetypal lens, which is evolutionary astrology, Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto's like the excavator that's going to dig and churn and like uncover your own treasure that's been, buried, right? Within the unconscious. Pluto is your unconscious soul desires. So Pluto in Aquarius, Aquarius correlates to trauma because Aquarius is about liberation from previous conditioning. So we have to confront our trauma in order to heal and then to empower ourselves. So Pluto in Aquarius is churning up trauma from prior lifetimes, from prior times where the collective um, was in a similar way very disempowered. Um, so ultimately, people are waking up to their soul. Like that's how I would describe it. So
I
on a
love that.
soul level, they're waking up to the parts of themselves that are meant to heal and to be empowered, but also like they're reconnecting and healing the parts of themselves that have been fragmented or distorted. And so that is what you're witnessing, people waking up on a soul level.
Thinking of it that way kind of changes the whole view of it. Like we're finally connecting. It's like maybe for the first time for some of us.
Definitely in this lifetime.
Mm. In two sentences, what would your advice be to navigate the rest of the retrograde? Got another, week and 2 weeks, whatever left. What would your advice be right now? What should we be doing?
Yeah. So, what I feel we're experiencing, and then for the remaining of the retrograde, there's going to be fears that come up
Mm.
that have to do with um, communication, perhaps old thought patterns that feel disempowering. Um, there may be fears around feeling safe and vulnerable to be within one's heart, to operate from one's heart, because it's scary to be vulnerable. It can be. So these fears are going to start coming up through our emotional body, which is, also known as the etheric body. So it's in our energy field. It's like what is already there that keeps us operating from fear, that keeps us in what our mind classifies as safe, but is actually not safe and not connected to your own nature. So as these fears come up, it's important to confront them and know that they are not actually who you are. They are ego driven. They are conditionally driven. So it's coming from something outside of you. And so how we navigate through that is we do something. Like for me, I will go surf because that allows me to return to my nature, decondition. The ocean water helps decondition the narrative. And then I get to sit and acknowledge and confront those fears, but in a very loving way. And then eventually they will dissolve. But it's up to me to make that choice. Okay, that's not actually who I am. I'm acknowledging that fear. And even though this is really uncomfortable, I'm going to move through it. And then eventually it will subside. But it's meant to create a change within your own belief system, within your own thought process, the ways in which you communicate. How connected are you to your heart, to your intuition? it's meant to really like unleash the parts of you that are just not connected to those in a natural way. And so it's really important to find something where you find your own inner peace, or do something that allows you to move it through your body. Like surfing, for example, it's a somatic movement. You are literally moving the body in a way that allows the emotion to move through instead of being stagnant. And I feel like we're going to experience that. You're going to feel these fears in your body. And then it's important to do something that is resourceful for each individual, because we all, like you said, you kayak, well, I go surf. So yeah, a big part of it is really getting to know yourself and what your needs are. And if you don't know, well then, hey, that's a great place to start. I don't know. So I'm going to journal about that right now. Again, I would go and sit next to the ocean and I would ask, like, please show me what it is I need to know in such a way that I can't deny. With the intention that you're connecting to the universe, your intuition, the highest vibration of unconditional love and light with all respect, that has your best interest at heart.
Deep stuff. I know this is woo, but this is the secret. This is the secret sauce, people. This is it. Connecting within, and these things that we were given that we don't really access the way we should. Some of us don't at all. Lots to talk about. If we get a chance, the universe says we'll be talking again. But thank you for the realizations today. For me, validation about a lot of this. You got a lot of good stuff going on there, from astrology to energy healing, the therapeutic level. And I never thought of an activity like surfing being something to help move the energy through you. I didn't think of it that way. I just thought it was like, getting back to nature. Water's great. We are water, whatever. Didn't view it that way, because energy can get stuck. It's got to move. Can't get rid of it. It's got to change. So thank you for that. Even that realization, I didn't even realize that. How do we find you, Jordan? How do we connect with you?
Yeah, so thank you again for having me, Steve. This has been really wonderful. So I have two websites, JordanAuten.com and then Yoniswell.com. Yoniswell is the community space where, like-minded individuals come together through their desire to surf and a desire to experience healing, empowerment, and returning to one's nature. And then through my website, have my offerings, but they basically integrate together. So
amazing talking with you. I love that you run deep. It's really cool. We need that now. And I'll see you on the waves at some point. Somewhere.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and... This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.